Hey guys, so this video I want to talk about one of the most important guards in jiu-jitsu, which is the shallow lasso or single sleeve control. This guard's really important because it's really easy to set up and allows for a lot of transitions. There's a lot of powerful guards in jiu-jitsu like closed guard, X guard, de la riva X that are really strong, but they're often difficult to get to. So people really struggle in a match to get on offense because they can't find a way to control their opponent. So this video I'm going to go into how to set the position up, the basics of controlling it, the most common defenses, and include a lot of sparring footage so you guys can see how to implement it yourself. So we're going to talk about the foundations of controlling this position first, and then as you guys understand it, we're going to go into the setups a little bit later, okay? So the first thing to understand here is this position's like really easy to get to, and I'm going to get into those setups later. But once I get this position, it's not that I'm going to attack directly from this shallow lasso, but it's all the transitions that are available. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to have this shallow lasso like on the collarbone. My right foot's always going to be kind of angled upward towards the bicep or chest. This makes it way more difficult for him to trap my leg in between his legs and do something, okay? So the main attacks I'm going to switch to here will be depending on what he does. So very often people will try to grab this pant leg or ankle, and that's going to give me access to this sleeve. This can easily turn into like spider guard stuff, and I can start building from here. It can turn into breaking the grip and going leg past body. This will naturally start to turn into things like de la riva attacks where I sweep him backwards here, like this. It can turn into, once I set the de la riva hook, I can push the hip out and load him in. I can start taking him up overhead here for overhead sweeps. You can transition to sit-up guard easily from here. I could put my foot on the hip, grab the ankle, push the hip out, grab the sleeve, and just go for one of these classic sweeps here where you go up from there. So another common transition from here will be often my opponent will be hiding this hand so I can't get the second sleeve. That's going to make me often go to collar sleeve. Even if he grabbed the pant, I can still play collar sleeve if he grabs the pant, but if I can't grab this, I certainly can't play double sleeve. So then usually I'm going to use some other threat. So switching into collar sleeve is a good option here. There's a lot of different things I can do with this. I can unlasso and try to pull an omoplata or a triangle choke. If he keeps his elbow and knee tight, circle that way a little bit. Right? If he keeps his elbow and knee tight, I can use that to set up like a de la riva hook, and I can use that to off balance him backwards. Also from collar sleeve, like when I go for this omoplata, if my opponent postures, it's really easy to start setting up matrix attacks here and start building different attacks from there. I can use that to switch to like the ankle and start knocking him backwards and going for berimbolos here and start building attacks from there. So again, the shallow lasso, it's not that you're gonna attack directly with it, but it gives you an easy position you can set up. Once you understand how to control it, it's hard for your opponent to get out and allows you to transition to so many different attack series. Okay. So another really common series from here when I have the shallow lasso is my opponent's gonna posture up a lot, right? So he deadlifts, right? So when he deadlifts, I can't get the double sleeve, I can't get the collar. Often I'll switch to a cross sleeve, and this will turn into the sit-up guard series that I showed a few weeks ago on the channel where I kick out here and I come up, and you can start building off that series as well. I have an entire video on that series as well. I can put the link in the description. I could kick out here, I go to feed the sleeve, and he pulls his arm up really hard away, and I can use this here to pull up and come up to his back and start building there. Another really good transition from this position is if he happens to be leading with this leg a little bit more, like this, is sometimes from here I'll just grab the ankle, I can unlasso, push the hip out, and now I'm out on the other side. Now I could start going to sit-up guard and playing de la riva on the other side. I could deep lace and go to like a de la riva X here, start building from here, and drive forward and come up for sweeps there as well. You okay?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about some basic control mechanics. So again, I'm often going to be switching really quickly between double sleeve and collar sleeve and the cross sleeve. So it's kind of all part of this broader position I just call the shallow lasso or the single sleeve, but the right hand's going to be often changing, but there's some patterns that are going to be relevant across all the situations. Okay, so one thing is often, once I have this right foot on his bicep or out, as long as it's not trapped, whether I'm in collar sleeve or double sleeve, I'm going to unlasso to try to go for a de la riva hook or to attack an omoplata or something, right? But while I do this, often he's going to be trying to loop this other leg. When he loops this other leg, if I stay here too long, he's going to start passing this side and I'm going to be in trouble, right? So you have to make sure that anytime you're playing one of these positions and the guy kills this leg, that you immediately lasso. And usually I let go of the collar or the sleeve or whatever I have with it, or if a cross sleeve, and I'm going to focus on framing. So go ahead and loop it. So he loops it and kills it. I lasso, I push, retract my leg out, and I come back out, and now I can start attacking again. So developing that habit of any time this right leg gets killed, you have to lasso, push, and come back, okay? The lasso is always a safe option. The de la riva hook sometimes is, sometimes isn't. So if you're ever unsure, just lasso to be safe. So another common issue is going to be your opponent trying to loop out of your lasso, okay? So one thing to make it hard in the first place is I want to keep my like knuckles kind of pinned against my thigh. That makes it much harder for him to loop out. But he's still going to loop out sometimes. He just rips really hard and he starts to get the hand out. Anytime this occurs, I want to kick my leg out to reset this, okay? So if I'm in double sleeve and my leg's past the body when he loops out, here I'm just going to kick out. And now I can reset the position. I could come back to foot on the hip, to a de la riva hook or whatever from here, and I'm completely safe. The only caveat here is if I have a spider hook, I gotta be careful, because if he loops out here and I kick out, he can throw me, so that's just a special case. If I'm in collar sleeve here, like this, and he loops out, here, he can't throw me because of the posture control here, so I'm fine to unlasso like that and come back, okay? So anytime you're playing this position and you just feel like, or sometimes he's hiding this hand and I don't have anything with this yet and he starts looping out here, I can kick out. He can't throw or do anything because he hasn't committed his hand. And then I come back here. Also, sometimes if the guy's backing up or he's playing kind of loose here, if he doesn't have a grip, I can unlasso and go on the hip as well. That's often why I refer to this position as single sleeve control instead of a shallow lasso, because when you say shallow lasso, people often think you're just always going to be here the whole time. But in reality, there's going to be a lot of times I unlasso, put the foot on the hip. Sometimes I'll have my leg floating out like this. The main thing is this is just such an easy position to set up that you're going to be kind of building around having this single sleeve. So it might be on the hip. He starts going this way. I lasso, I center up, he starts going that way. I might unlasso and go to the hip. He goes this way. I lasso and come back. Now I'm going collar sleeve. Can go to double sleeve and start building all my attacks from there. So now we're going to talk about setup. So again, the big thing with like the shallow lasso single sleeve series is that it is extremely easy to get to. Getting to something like X guard just requires way more work to try to set the position up. And often when you chase something that's too far, too ambitious, too early, the guy gets ahead of you. If I'm chasing X guard and he does some quick move, it's really hard, right? But if I get like a lasso and I fall into a position like this, and now I go here, now I can switch to X guard when it's open and it's really easy to go into, right? So that's the benefit of the shallow lasso. Okay, so we're going to start with setting it up from sitting up. So often when you're sitting up and your opponent's engaging you, they're usually going to have their hands like attacking, right? For him to do literally anything, he has to commit a grip at some point. So often you're going to get one sleeve. It's good to get good at both sleeves, but you're going to take what you can get right now. So from here, once I get the sleeve, I could either go directly foot on hip, or I could put my elbow down, I lift my feet, and I fall straight back to the shallow lasso. Now I've established an initial control. As he starts grabbing here, I can break, I can start building here and doing all my different attacks from here, right? Sometimes instead of the lasso, I could go straight to the foot on hip like this. And now I would put my foot in the bicep. This could turn into collar sleeve. If he pushes this down in circles this way, then I'm gonna lasso, push. Now I'm back here, building and combining my game from here and learning to combine. All right, so now we're gonna talk about setting it up off your back. So often when you're gonna be defending in jiu-jitsu on your back, you're not always sitting up grip fighting. Like maybe you just tried a triangle choke, the guy escaped, and you're on your back, okay? So here I wanna keep my legs moving, and I always have my hands kind of following his wrists and hands, trying to feel out where he's at, and I'm gonna try to get a hold of a sleeve. If I can get a sleeve, I can come through and lasso, okay? If he gets a hold of one pant grip, usually what I'll do is I'll get the sleeve, and really fast I break, and then I lasso. And again, I'm back in the same basic position that I can start building all of my offense off of to navigate, right? Another way is someone might enter for a knee cut where they grab your lapel, right? So he grabs the lapel and enters in on a knee cut. I just keep my knee tight to me, I frame, throw my heel over, and now I come down and grab the sleeve. Make sure you don't grab the sleeve first because it's hard to throw the leg over then. I want to frame him coming in. See, I want to frame, so I throw over. Now I come back and push, and again, I'm back into the same position, and I can build my offense, okay? So again, this position, it's not that it's like, you know, I said this before, but it's not that you just directly attack with it all the time. It's that it allows for you to transition to so many other positions. And if you get really good at controlling this, you're going to start to see how easy it is to set up. And then when a match starts, you're always on your own terms attacking first because you're always in the position you want. Rather than trying to chase a position that's hard to get to, you'll start with a shallow lasso, and then that will lead to the X guard, or lead to close guard, or lead to de la riva X. All right, guys, so I'll do a future video on the single pant control, which is also just as equally important, because if the opponent's not giving you the sleeves, one of the other first contact grips you're gonna get is gonna be like the ankle or the pant leg, and you need to know how to build your game off of that as well. As always, if you guys like the content, be sure to like, share, subscribe. Also, I have a new website up, www.johnthomasbjj.com. I'll put the link in the description, and you can go there for more organized content. I'm putting up free courses right now, so hope you check that out.